LeBron James recently opened up about the conclusion of his remarkable double-digit scoring streak during an appearance on the Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash. The Lakers superstar's incredible run of scoring at least 10 points came to an end after 1,297 consecutive games when he finished with just 8 points against the Toronto Raptors. Despite the streak ending, Los Angeles secured the victory, with James making the winning play by finding Rui Hachimura for the game-winning three-pointer instead of forcing shots to extend his personal record. During the podcast conversation, James provided insight into his mindset throughout the historic streak. He acknowledged that while he always kept track of his scoring totals during games, he never approached any contest with the sole intention of preserving the streak. The Lakers forward explained that he regularly checks the stat sheet when returning to the bench, monitoring his field goal percentage and overall efficiency. However, he emphasized that actively prioritizing the streak over team success would have been a disservice to both himself and his approach to basketball. The game against Toronto proved particularly challenging for James from a shooting perspective. He connected on just 4 of 17 shot attempts, struggling to find his rhythm throughout the contest. As the final minutes approached, James became aware that the streak might come to an end. He recalled a specific three-point attempt from the right wing that would have elevated his total to 11 points. The shot hit every part of the rim and the backboard before ultimately falling out, prompting James to recognize it was simply one of those difficult nights where shots refused to fall. The streak nearly concluded on several previous occasions. Just one game before the Toronto matchup, James barely reached 10 points during a blowout loss to the Phoenix Suns. Looking back further, James remembered a particularly close call during the 2021 season when he attempted to play through a leg injury against the Atlanta Hawks. During that contest, his leg got rolled up on, but following his usual routine of tightening his shoes and continuing to play, he managed to hit a three-pointer from the left wing that pushed his total to 10 points before the pain became too severe to continue. That particular injury resulted in James missing 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. The incident highlighted how fragile such a remarkable streak truly was, as any unexpected injury or even an ejection could have ended it at any moment. The fact that James maintained this consistency for over 1,200 games speaks to not only his scoring ability, but also his remarkable durability throughout his career. The current active player with the longest scoring streak trails James by more than 1,000 games, demonstrating just how exceptional this achievement was. Breaking this record would require another player to maintain double-digit scoring for multiple seasons without interruption, making it one of the most untouchable records in basketball history, alongside James's all-time scoring record. James Harden recently commented on the scoring record, stating his belief that nobody will ever break James's mark as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. This sentiment reflects the general consensus around the league that some of James's accomplishments may stand indefinitely. The combination of longevity, consistency, and elite performance required to approach these records makes them nearly impossible to replicate. The way the streak ended perfectly encapsulated James's approach to basketball throughout his entire career. Rather than forcing shots in pursuit of a personal milestone, he made the right basketball play by passing to an open teammate for the winning shot. This decision-making prioritizes team success over individual accolades, a philosophy that has defined his 20-plus seasons in the league. As James continues his career with the Lakers under head coach JJ Redick, he remains focused on team accomplishments rather than personal statistics. While the double-digit scoring streak represented an incredible feat of consistency, James views it as just one chapter in his ongoing pursuit of championships and team success. The Lakers organization and fans appreciate his continued dedication to winning above all else, making him one of the most respected competitors in league history. The ending of such a remarkable streak naturally generates reflection on what made it possible. James's combination of elite scoring ability, basketball intelligence, and physical durability created the perfect conditions for sustained excellence. His willingness to adapt his game over time, incorporating three-point shooting and developing more efficient offensive approaches, allowed him to maintain scoring consistency even as his athletic advantages diminished. Los Angeles Lakers head coach JJ Redick recently praised center Jaxson Hayes for his significant development as a playmaker and decision-maker on the basketball court. While Hayes has built his reputation primarily as an athletic rim runner who excels at finishing dunks and protecting the rim, his passing ability has emerged as an increasingly valuable aspect of his game this season. This evolution has not gone unnoticed by the coaching staff, particularly Redick, who highlighted the big man's growth during a recent interview. Hayes thrives in the pick and roll alongside guards Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, providing them with an ideal target for alley-oops and quick finishes at the basket. His athleticism and energy make him a constant threat in transition and half-court sets. However, what has distinguished Hayes this season is his ability to make smart decisions when catching the ball on the short roll. Rather than forcing difficult shots or turning the ball over, he has consistently found open teammates cutting to the basket or positioned in the corners for three-point opportunities. During his conversation with Spectrum Sportsnet, Redick emphasized that Hayes' most significant improvement has been his development as a pocket decision maker. Whether facing a defensive blitz or reading standard coverage, his progression in making the right reads has become noticeably better. The coach specifically credited Hayes' growth to the period following the Lakers' acquisition of Doncic, noting that the center began developing these skills last season and has continued building on that foundation throughout the current campaign. The statistical evidence supports Redick's observations. Hayes recorded a career high in total assists last season, and if he maintains his current pace, he will accumulate more assists over the past 2 years than he did in his previous 4 seasons combined. While his assist numbers may not reach double digits in any single game, it has become increasingly common to see him contribute 2, 3, or 4 assists per contest, representing a substantial improvement from earlier in his career when such production was rare. This development has significant implications for the Lakers' offensive system. When Hayes demonstrates the ability to make smart passing decisions, it creates additional trust between him and the team's primary ball handlers. Doncic and Reeves can now confidently feed Hayes on the short roll, knowing that good things will happen whether he finishes at the rim or finds an open teammate. This trust reduces the burden on the guards to create every scoring opportunity themselves and makes the offense more unpredictable for opposing defenses. The evolution of Hayes as a passer adds another dimension to the Lakers' attack. Defenses can no longer simply focus on preventing his rim runs, as he has proven capable of punishing overly aggressive schemes by finding open shooters or cutters. This versatility forces opponents to respect multiple threats, creating better spacing and easier scoring opportunities for the entire team. While his highlight reel dunks and blocked shots continue to generate excitement, his quieter contributions as a facilitator have become equally valuable to the team's success. Redick's public recognition of Hayes' improvement reflects the coaching staff's appreciation for players who expand their skill sets and embrace different roles. The center has clearly worked on reading defenses, understanding timing, and developing court vision. These subtle aspects of basketball often go unnoticed by casual observers, but make a tremendous difference in team performance. Hayes' willingness to develop as a complete player rather than relying solely on his athletic gifts demonstrates maturity and dedication to his craft. The Lakers have recently inserted Hayes into the starting lineup to fill in for injured teammate DeAndre Ayton. This expanded role has provided additional opportunities for Hayes to showcase his playmaking abilities alongside the team's top offensive weapons. His performance in these situations will be crucial as the Lakers navigate potential absences of key rotation players throughout the season. LeBron James recently addressed the challenge of missing important players, emphasizing that everyone on the roster must be prepared to step up when called upon. Hayes exemplifies this mentality through his continuous improvement and readiness to contribute in various ways. His development as a playmaker ensures that he can provide value beyond his traditional role as an athletic finisher and rim protector. As the season progresses, Hayes' growth as a facilitator will remain important for the Lakers. His ability to make smart decisions enhances offensive flexibility and provides Redick with strategic options. While he may never become the primary playmaker, his evolution into a reliable decision-maker represents the development championship contenders require. A recent trade proposal has emerged suggesting that the Los Angeles Clippers could send star forward Kawhi Leonard to their crosstown rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers, in what would be one of the most shocking moves in NBA history. The hypothetical trade, proposed by Lake Show Life's Josh Cornelison, would represent a dramatic shift for both franchises as they navigate vastly different positions in their respective championship windows. However, upon closer examination, this trade scenario appears highly unfavorable for the Clippers and unlikely to materialize. The proposed trade would send Leonard to the Lakers in exchange for Rui Hachimura, Jard Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and a 2030 first-round pick swap. Additionally, the Brooklyn Nets would receive Dalton Knecht and Maxi Kleber along with a 2032 second-round pick as facilitators in the deal. While this proposal attempts to address the needs of all three teams involved, the return package for the Clippers raises serious questions about whether such a transaction would benefit the franchise currently struggling through a disappointing season. The Los Angeles Clippers entered this campaign with reasonable expectations after posting a 50-win, 32-loss record in the previous season. However, everything has fallen apart dramatically as they currently sit 14th in the Western Conference with a 7-win, 21-loss record. This catastrophic start has prompted speculation about the franchise potentially accelerating their free agency timeline from 2027 to 2026, which would necessitate moving their highest paid players, including Leonard. Leonard's market value has diminished due to persistent injury concerns. The two-time Defensive Player of the Year continues producing impressive numbers when healthy, averaging 25.2 points, 6.1 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 2 steals, and 0.4 of a block per game. However, his inability to remain on court consistently has impacted his trade value significantly. For the Lakers, acquiring Leonard would fulfill a pursuit from 2019. 6 years later, he retains the ability to contribute at a high level. The Lakers possess sufficient scoring with Doncic, James, and Reeves. What they need is defensive versatility, where Leonard once excelled. The hope would be Leonard rediscovering defensive prowess with less offensive burden. Playing alongside elite scorers would let him conserve energy for defense, where his experience could provide value. However, recent seasons suggest his defensive decline stems from age and injury. From the Clippers' perspective, the return package appears insufficient for a player of Leonard's caliber and reputation. While Hachimura and Vincent both carry expiring contracts worth $18.2 million and $11.5 million respectively, providing salary cap relief for 2026, this flexibility alone does not justify trading a franchise cornerstone. The Lakers' first-round pick swap in 2030 carries theoretical value, particularly if Luka Doncic experiences decline in his 30s as some executives reportedly fear. However, betting against a player of Doncic's caliber and work ethic seems unwise. Perhaps the most problematic aspect of this proposal for the Clippers involves taking on Jared Vanderbilt's contract. Vanderbilt possesses a player option worth $13.3 million for the 2027-28 season, meaning the Clippers would be assuming a questionable long-term financial commitment. Given that one of their primary motivations for trading Leonard would be clearing cap space and resetting their financial flexibility, absorbing Vanderbilt's contract directly contradicts that objective. The Brooklyn Nets serve as trade facilitators in this scenario, receiving Dalton Knecht and a second-round pick for absorbing Maxi Kleber's expiring $11 million salary. Knecht represents an intriguing young prospect who showed flashes of potential during his rookie season with the Lakers, but has seen his playing time diminish recently. A change of scenery could potentially revitalize his development, giving the Nets either a valuable rotation piece or a trade asset for future transactions. The fundamental issue extends beyond asset valuation. These are rival franchises in the same city. The Clippers would need overwhelmingly favorable terms to consider trading Leonard to the Lakers, as strengthening a direct competitor contradicts basic competitive principles. This transaction fails the test required for successful trades. The Clippers would sell low on Leonard without adequate compensation while taking on a questionable contract. The Lakers would acquire an aging, injury-prone star who may not address their primary needs. While creative proposals generate discussion, this scenario lacks the balance necessary to become reality.